Hello there and welcome to my video presentation. In this video presentation I'll be discussing my contribution to my 5 projects I made during my first term at Ravensbourne University and analysing the techniques I used and the research I did and the struggle I faced when contributing to my projects and how I managed to overcome my weaknesses and struggles for my projects. This film had to be about an unexpected twist that happens at the end. So our film is about a guy that gets scammed on the internet for money and he's living in a very poor and shabby apartment. And he sees an online ad and he clicks on it and it turns out to be real. But then it turns out that it's fake and that he is completely scammed with money. And my contribution for this project was that I was the sound operator, doing the sound and operating the boom pole and the sound mixer. This was in some ways quite a challenge for me because as a result of previous failed attempts to book the equipment at college, I never actually got to use the sound equipment at college, which is a bit of a shame. So when I came to using this time, I didn't know how to do it this time. And so Elliot showed me how to use the sound equipment kit and I was able to use it. One struggle I faced was that the headphones, you couldn't really hear the sound very well, and so therefore I wasn't sure if certain takes of the sound were okay, as I could not really hear the sound very well through the headphones. Another issue I had was having the boom pole in the shot. This happened quite frequently and annoyed myself quite a lot. Another struggle I faced was the fact that I had to operate both the sound mixer and the boom pole. This made it very difficult as constantly I had to move around set quite a bit, holding the two and almost tripping over the wires, and quite frequently either knocking either one of the boom pole or the sound mixer out of one of my hands. And as a result of this ended up with one of the wires clipping against the boom pole, which you end up hearing in the film. For this film, I was again the sound recorder, although this time I was originally supposed to be the lighting director, but unfortunately my group had issues with the risk assessment, so therefore they could not book the lights. This therefore meant I had to do sound with Elliot and share in between using the boom pole and using the sound mixer and actually recording it and listening to the sound. Although this time there weren't too many struggles as I have known how to use sound now, as I used it for my previous project. And the only struggles I faced is that occasionally it would be difficult to move around the set, and holding the boom pole is quite tiresome. It definitely fatigues your arms, and occasionally it's difficult stop the boom pole getting in the shot. For this film Broken, I was the cinematographer. This was my first time being DOP, a group project, rather than a project that I've worked on individually. So I was quite nervous going into this, but luckily the shots turned out very, very great and the cinematography was great, and I was very pleased with my work. A lot of the struggles I faced was that I was very unprepared for the shoot. I only managed to do half of the shot list for the film, so therefore I had to work with the director on what he wanted for each shot, and therefore this led to him almost dictating what shots are needed for each scene. And a lot of the time, the shot list that I had, we didn't really go by it, as some of the time it didn't quite suit what Alex wanted, who is the director. And there's one particular shot that I did that I was quite disappointed that did not make it, which was a head spin, which was before the duel. Alex did not quite know how to put it in the film, in the final edit. Although I managed to use a lot of innovation with the shots, like just little camera movements, like in the first scene where the camera just sort of pans down at the drawing when it's looking up at the main protagonist, and also the scene where she's walking down the steps and the camera pans down towards the sword, just very slightly. And yes, Alex was quite impressed by my innovative work that I used on his shot ideas. For this film Inverted, I was the editor, and I had many struggles, one including that I had to fit this film into 1 minute, which was a very hard thing to do, and also I had to edit it within 1 day before it's due within this release. And this made it very difficult, as it made me stay up until 5 o'clock in the morning trying to submit the film, and therefore this made me unable to do my video presentation, which is due the day after this was due. Another struggle I faced was that my computer was completely knackered. From when I was about 14, it had multiple viruses on it. It's 5 years old and it's just knackered, and I found it even difficult even to watch the preview of the edit back. I also had trouble, as a result of my slow computer, downloading music and downloading files. I also did not know how to do masking, and so therefore I watched YouTube tutorials on how to do it. Although however, a lot of the features on the software on the tutorials weren't on my software for some reason, even though I watched a tutorial on the same exact software. Therefore, this made me somehow do the masking for the film to create the effect of 2 actors in the same shot by just cutting the right hand side of the frame and overlaying it on top of the background of me lying on the bench, for which I was acting in. This meant I had to do colour correction to the 2 pieces of footage, as they did not match, as we were filming during sunset, and therefore shot of when I am lying on the bench is much darker than the shot where I'm looking at the body. Although this technique could not work for the alleyway scene, so therefore I had to zoom in on the image of him walking down and cut for where he was supposed to be looking at where the body is supposed to be, and just cut to a close-up of the body. And luckily this worked, as the bag, when the camera pans down, is in the same side in the film as it would be in continuity terms. Thank you for watching my video presentation. I hope you have enjoyed, and also of course enjoyed my lovely pieces of work I have made in the first term.